Howdy, y'all. Welcome to this episode of The World According to the Blind Dog. We're here at headquarters, deep in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. And brother, let me tell you, it is hot outside, like 108, with feels like temperatures of I'm not going outside. Uh, COVID just eliminated my tolerance for the heat, which is the perfect segue of where we're going today. When I got out of the hospital 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, went in the hospital 3 years ago. Give me a break, folks. I've been in a coma. It definitely had an impact on my mind. But when I got out of the hospital, a little over 2 years ago, I began to recount some of the dreams and experiences I had while I was in a coma. I remember quite a few things, some very strange things, which is the subject of an upcoming video, but nonetheless. And as I regaled my friends with my recollections of my dreams, everybody's telling me, dude, you need to write a book. Dude, you need to write a book. And I'm sorry, but a book is a tremendous undertaking, especially when you're limited in your vocabulary like I am. So I've decided to add that content here on YouTube. My different experiences I had in dream states and reality states will set the timeline a little bit. There's a lot of it I'm not going to remember, period. I can't give you dates and times. This happened at 3 o'clock. This happened at 4. No. But I can recall a lot of the things I was going through in my coma life. Like I said, I'm going to talk about this in another video real soon. But chapter 1 is the start. This is as good a place as any to start. I snuck out a little earlier yesterday before it got real hot, and I shot a little video on location. So we'll be bouncing back and forth. So come with me. We're going to go on a field trip. This is my 3rd anniversary of getting COVID. And this time 3 years ago, I was very much in a medically induced coma. They say I was fighting for my life. I don't much remember it. But anyhow, on August 8th or the 9th, not sure. Like I said, I've been in a coma since then, so dates are a little fuzzy. But on the 8th or the 9th, about midday, I walked through that emergency room door right there and to an event that changed my life. I didn't stay in that emergency room very long. They admitted me to my first room. I'll show you my first room, and then, well, I'll see about getting over to the other side of the hospital to where the ICD ward was. ICD stands for imminent COVID death, because that's what was going on up there. My first room was right up there, below that detail, that different architecture above the stucco. It was below that. I know because I had a wonderful view of this building and that roof from my hospital window. But I'm going to be perfectly frank with you. the view of my first nurse was worth the visit. She was a very beautiful lady. Yes, my first nurse was an extremely attractive young lady. And for a truck driver like myself, I don't really work around a lot of females. Just being around them was something new, and I was enjoying the attention. I won't lie. The first few days of my hospital experience, I learned something about a whole group of nurses that take temporary contract jobs all over the country, and they're say in Sarasota, Florida, for a month and a half for on contract, and they lock down an Airbnb or whatever they do, and they work there, and then next thing you know, they may take a contract job out in LA. So they're always moving around the country. And often I did not see, especially at the first hospital I went to, St. David's, I did not see the same nurse, with the exception of the first nurse. She came back the next day, the next shift, her shift. Uh, but I did not see the same nurse twice, because during her shift on the second day is when they moved me up to the ICD ward. And I remember when they moved me, they had this plastic tent that they put over the upper part of my body, and it covered me, and I had cannulas and cups on my face, and I was carrying a bottle of oxygen in the hospital bed, and they rolled me up there. And I think the plastic tent was more to protect other people than it was uh, any other reason. So they wheeled me upstairs and into my room, and there was this young lady nurse. She was literally riding on the foot of the bed, had her feet on the support at the base, and she says, "Man, it's good to see you. This is where the magic happens." And once again, I never saw her again. I remember I spent 2 sunsets in that room, and then sometime on the third day, well, we'll get to that. And I looked for her too. I wanted to ask her when that magic was supposed to start happening, because I certainly wasn't seeing any of it. So this is as close as I can get to my ICD room. It is right up there, one of those 4 windows. Once again, I know, because I could see the view of this part of the hospital over here and that roof there whenever I got out of bed, which they didn't let me do a lot. And I could also see the sun setting to the west. Those windows face kind of west, northwest. But I'm going to pull over here to a better place to rest, to stop. I'm kind of in the traffic flow where I'm at. No good place to stop and park. But I'm going to go right down over here. My last room in the ICD ward, I really wasn't feeling that bad. I really wasn't. But they kept bringing all these devices in and putting them on my face, and it was a nightmare. But at the very worst, I thought I'd be back home in about a week or so, and then I'd have a little convalescing time, and then I'd be back to work, no problem, no sweat. The last thing I remember before coming to about the middle of December was I was laying in my bed and I had something on my face and it was making so much noise I couldn't hear the TV. So I was basically just moving around, looking around and watching what was going on. And I could see across the hallway. I guess you could call it a hallway. It was a place where the medicos gathered. But I could see across and into the room on the other side. And sure enough, there was a patient laying in the bed in the same circumstance I was in. It was the mask on and so I'm looking around some more and I look over there and I notice there's a bunch of nurses hanging around this individual. And then the next thing I realize is that they're starting to bring extra carts into their room. And I can tell you from what I've learned, it's never good when they have to bring extra carts into your hospital room. But there they were. And then I don't know if they saw me watching, but a nurse closed the mini blind so I could no longer see in there. And I'm just bebopping around. Finally, I'm so tired, I just fall asleep for a little while. And I'm laying in my bed. And I wake up. There's a commotion. I hear a commotion out, and I hear nurses talking out in the hallway. And I look out my little observation window that they have there, and I can see them moving another patient into that empty room. Whoever was in that room died, and they wheeled them out of there. They sanitized the room. They were bringing in a new patient. And that was the first time I really got scared. I was worried at that point. So I did what any responsible adult would do. I started texting everybody I know and telling them, get me out of here. If you don't get me out of here, I'm going to die in here. And that is my last memory. Sometime shortly thereafter, they put me down. They intubated me. But once again, I wasn't feeling sick. I didn't think, but I'm not a doctor, but I didn't think it was anywhere near that bad. So that's the last thing I remember. And then the first thing I can remember when I woke up for a minute was Ronnie's hands on my head and my face, talking to me and loving me. And I knew that at that particular moment I was back. I knew maybe, I wasn't sure what I knew, brother. I went through some stuff, and I'm going to get into that. But when I woke up, I had an E. coli bacterial infection around my tracheotomy, my trach, my ventilator, respirator, dealy bobber hole that they cut into my throat. And I had C. diff, which is a particularly nasty bacterial infection that usually breeds in hospitals. And I also had a stage 4 infected pressure wound, a bed sore on my sacrum. It's very important to understand that at this time, when I was in a coma, there were no visitors allowed. Nobody. In fact, they had a hard time finding a priest to come give me my last rites. They found one, came out of San Antonio. But no family, Nobody. Only the medical people were the only people I remember seeing from the time I walked in that door. Sometime during my coma, Governor Abbott signed an executive order allowing or mandating or that families be allowed to visit their loved ones sick in the hospital from COVID. And I truly feel that that's when things started to come back around for me. I don't think my condition would have changed had my family not been allowed to come in there and pray for me. You know, there's 3 things that saved my life. Well, actually 4 now, but the love of my family is on that list, very high. The power of prayer, which also includes the love of family, but I had people from all over the country, all over the world praying for me. And then the care that I got at Cornerstone Hospital. So that's Cornerstone Hospital. That's where I spent most of my hospital time in there. I got here towards the end of September and basically bounced in and out of reality until the middle of December is when I started putting 2 and 2 together, so to speak. It was quite an experience. I came back here after both my surgeries when they gave me an ostomy and then when they sealed my butt crack shut because of the stage 4 bed sore I had after leaving St. David's. But they brought me here. They took really good care of me here. The people that work here are angels. There's a few of them I really didn't care for, but they're doing a difficult job with difficult people. And I was definitely difficult. I did not mean to be difficult. I just was. When I knew I was somewhere I didn't want to be, I wasn't supposed to be there, so I was doing everything I could to get out of there. And they ended up having to tie me down for a period of time. I was pulling out my IVs and my stuff like that. They say I even pulled out the trach out of my throat one night. So they had to tie me down. I don't recall how long I was tied down. I do remember having certain dreams of being tied down, and I'll talk about those on another day, but this is where it all came back together for me. I've been back to visit a couple of times. I've been thinking about stopping by and visiting a lot here lately, I guess just because it's that time of year. It's 3 years later, nonetheless. That is Encompass Rehabilitation Hospital. It's where I spent the last 2 weeks of my hospital experience, my COVID experience. I was already getting in and out of bed. Took a lot of work. Oh, and it hurt like hell. You know, you can't imagine what your joints feel like after 8 months of not putting any pressure on them. Everything hurt, I can promise you. After every therapy session, it was like, bring on the tramadol. I'm in pain. But they treated me pretty good here. Once again, the bacterial infections, although I didn't really have them at the time, they followed me here. So They stuck me in that corner room over there by myself in isolation. You had to go through a couple of doors to get through there. And like at Cornerstone Hospital, everybody was always wrapped up in blue plastic suits and gloves and masks and all this other stuff. It was mainly just a precautionary thing. Had they allowed that bacteria to spread to the rest of the hospital, it would have been a catastrophic event. But they wheeled me out of there April 2nd, 2 days before my birthday. I was a happy camper, very happy camper to be going home. 235 days. Quite the experience. 2 surgeries. Man. Well, okay, that's it for chapter number 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and you can look forward to more of the according to the blind dog and a little bit less of the world during this intense heat outside, because I just can't take it. All right, folks. Please like, please subscribe. We'll see you soon. That's the world according to the blind dog. Adios, muchachos.